Ohio State fans, take a deep breath, because what you're about to hear is not just another coaching hire. This is a decision that left NFL executives stunned, franchises speechless, and permanently shifted the balance of power between college football and the professional league. For weeks, no one could understand what was happening behind the scenes in Columbus. Ohio State's offense was leaderless, the clock was ticking, pressure was mounting on Ryan Day. Analysts whispered that the vacancy had turned into a nightmare. Fans feared a rushed or desperate solution. But while everyone was watching the transfer portal, Ryan Day was fighting a much bigger battle, a silent one, a strategic war against the NFL itself. And the outcome of that battle involved a massive name. A coach who turned down 4 NFL teams, a man with a clear path back to the highest level of professional football, who chose the unthinkable instead. Arthur Smith chose Ohio State, and that decision shocked the entire NFL.
Just what are your first and foremost initial reactions to this hire?
I think it's a great hire personally, and I think more than anything, I trust Day so far has hit 2 home runs when he's hired 2 former NFL head coaches, Chip Kelly and Matt Patricia now. To me, you get a guy with 6 years of legitimate NFL play calling experience, whereas last year you were having Brian Hartline learning on the job as a play caller. I think there will be clear dividends there, and I think whatever Big Ten defenses are going to throw at Arthur Smith, I know there's a lot of hesitations because last 2 years of Steelers offense weren't that good at the NFL level. He didn't do a good job, never really built much in his 3 years with the Atlanta Falcons, 3, 7, and 10 seasons. But to me, the NFL head coaching to college coordinator model is one that's tried and true, not just under Day, but you look at what Nick Saban did for so long at Alabama. And there's a clear schematic difference from the college to the NFL game. It's on a more advanced level once you get to the pro. And having that guy who can just sit in the office and be a scheme guru, because Ohio State's already filled its 10 off-campus recruiting spots. So Arthur Smith is really, it seems like, just being in to be that pure scheme guy. And we can dive into some more of what his scheme has been later on. But my initial reaction, Dan, is that I think it's a great hire, and I'm going to believe in the method of hiring former NFL head coaches until it doesn't work.
On December 3rd, 2025, Ohio State was hit with an unexpected blow. Brian Hartline, a key architect of the Buckeyes' offensive system and one of the most respected minds in the program, left Columbus to become the head coach of the South Florida Bulls. The departure was sudden, clean, ruthless. Ryan Day had no time to react. Overnight, one of the most closely watched offenses in college football was without a leader. This wasn't just an open position, it was a massive responsibility. One wrong decision could cost an entire season, maybe even more. Days passed, 1 week, 2 weeks, a month. No announcement, no solid leaks, no clarity. For 52 long days, Ohio State lived inside an uncomfortable silence. Behind closed doors, names surfaced and disappeared. Candidates were evaluated, interviewed, and dismissed. Fan anxiety grew louder. Media voices began questioning whether Ryan Day had lost control of the situation. But what no one realized is that Day wasn't simply looking for an offensive coordinator. He was preparing a historic move. Then, a rumor started circulating among NFL insiders and college football circles. A name that sounded too big, too risky, too unrealistic. Arthur Smith, former Atlanta Falcons head coach, former offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, a man with 17 years of NFL experience. The reaction was immediate and dismissive. No chance. That makes no sense. He's not leaving the NFL. And there was one detail that made the story even more unbelievable. Arthur Smith wasn't unemployed. He was being pursued by 4 NFL franchises at the same time: Detroit Lions, Los Angeles Chargers, Arizona Cardinals, Tennessee Titans. 4 professional giants evaluating the same coach. For most people, that meant only one thing: Arthur Smith was headed back to the NFL, and Ohio State never truly stood a chance. But Ryan Day did not flinch. While others doubted, Day moved forward. On January 8th, the situation escalated dramatically. Arthur Smith publicly confirmed that the Tennessee Titans had contacted him for an interview regarding their head coaching vacancy. This wasn't just any franchise. This was Tennessee, the place where Smith spent nearly a decade, where he built his reputation, where he coordinated one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL between 2019 and 2020. That was the era that revived Ryan Tannehill's career. That was when Derrick Henry became unstoppable. That was when Arthur Smith officially entered the head coaching conversation across the league. Everything pointed toward a reunion. Everything suggested Ohio State was out of the race. Then came the statement that stunned everyone. Standing in front of the media, Arthur Smith said calmly and without hesitation, "That's not something I'm going to focus on, because the only thing that matters is my current job." He spoke about living in the present, about perspective, about how worrying about the future only creates distractions. In that moment, NFL executives understood something terrifying. Arthur Smith was closing doors on purpose. To understand why this decision shook the football world, you have to understand Arthur Smith's journey. Before the NFL, he already knew college football. He began as a graduate assistant at North Carolina in 2006. He worked as a defensive quality control coach in Washington. He served in an administrative role at Ole Miss. He understood the college environment, the recruiting battles, the pressure, the tradition. Then came the NFL. Years of grinding, years of growth, until he reached his peak in Tennessee, and eventually the ultimate goal, head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. But Atlanta was never stable. No franchise quarterback. Matt Ryan departed. Marcus Mariota didn't last. Desmond Ridder struggled. Taylor Heineke was a temporary solution. He spent 3 seasons chasing consistency that never came. The result was a 21-30 record and a project that never fully took shape. And maybe that's exactly why this time Arthur Smith chose control over chaos. While the public assumed the NFL would win this battle, Ryan Day continued working behind the scenes. Smith interviewed with the Detroit Lions for their offensive coordinator position. He spoke with the Los Angeles Chargers. He was evaluated by the Arizona Cardinals for their head coaching opening. 4 franchises, 4 opportunities, and still, none of them closed the deal. Ryan Day made a bold bet, a belief that Ohio State could offer something the NFL couldn't right now: full authority, immediate impact, and a clear identity. And there was another factor, rarely discussed publicly, but incredibly powerful in modern college football: NIL. Smith brings elite-level connections. His father, Frederick W. Smith, founder of FedEx, has an estimated net worth of $10 billion.
For a program like Ohio State, that's not a footnote. It's a strategic advantage. When NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport broke the news, the reaction was instant. Sources: Arthur Smith is expected to become the next offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Shockwaves followed immediately. Fans were stunned. Analysts rewrote narratives. Sports shows scrapped planned segments. Ryan Day had ended a 52-day search by stealing one of the most sought-after minds in the NFL. This wasn't just a hire, it was a power move. Here's the undeniable truth. Arthur Smith turned down 4 NFL teams to choose Ohio State. This was never about money, never just about titles. It was about vision, about control, about building an offense capable of dominating the national stage. Ryan Day didn't just fill a vacancy. He won a battle that few coaches would even attempt. He proved that Ohio State doesn't just compete with the NFL, it can beat it. This decision elevates the Buckeyes to a new tier. It reshapes how professional coaches view college football, and it sends a clear message across the country.
Ohio State is building something massive, and if Arthur Smith delivers on the field what he's already proven in the NFL, the future could be historic. Now I want to hear from you. Did Arthur Smith make the right decision by walking away from the NFL for Ohio State? Does this move instantly put the Buckeyes in the national title conversation? Drop your comment, share this with every football fan you know, and subscribe to the channel, because this story is just getting started.